This is Yvette Young, and you're geeking out to Gear Gods. Hi, my name is Yvette, and I play in a band called Covet. Today I'm going to be teaching you the intro riff from one of our songs called Howl off our latest album, FLRS. The tuning of this song is D, A, C sharp, F sharp, A, E. And right now I have my capo on the first fret. So I like to think of this riff in 4 main sections with a little bridge between one of them, and I'm going to teach you it section by section, just so it's more palatable. So the first section goes like this. So this section of the riff consists of a fingerpick section starting on the 4th fret, with a slide, and then a tap slide. And while you're slide tapping, your left hand's gonna move closer to this position, so. And then you're gonna, after you do that tap slide, you're immediately gonna finger pick these 2 notes. So after you do that finger pick section, you're gonna slide, do a parallel slide on these strings. After that part, you're gonna do a bunch of parallel slides going down. So in between this parallel slide, you're gonna hit this open B string, and then you're just gonna finger pick that. You're gonna do a parallel slide, a descending parallel slide. And then when you do the slide, try to like drag your finger against it to kind of give it kind of like a slow feel, and everything's like fluid together. So I'll play it differently the first time without doing that dragging thing, and then you can hear the difference. So that sounds a little more disjointed. The way I play it when I drag my finger is so you can hear the difference in that. It kind of just sounds more blended together. The whole thing again is like. And so the next section is so there's not much there except finger picking and a slide. So slowly it's on the 2nd fret. So you're gonna end on those open strings. I think it's open B and G. And the next part, you're actually gonna have to go all the way up to this fret over here. And this one's kind of tricky because you're gonna do a finger picked slide, but it's gonna actually be first parallel, and then it's gonna be. So you have to like slide your fingers different distances. So you might want to practice that a few times. So the next part with that slide incorporated is, so at the same time you're doing that slide, you're gonna pick this open low E. And then after that is a harmonic section. It's a harmonic here, and then you're gonna pick that note and pull off. So together it's... And then the next part is just a finger pick section. So that's the end of that part. So the next part is actually the little bridge section I was talking about in the beginning. So what you just played was a harmonic section with a little finger picked section. So you're gonna follow it up by going and playing a little bridge, which is... And then to go down to the 2nd fret. And then you're gonna play what we learned first again. With a tap slide. And then parallel slide and let it ring. You can like kind of make it wobble. So I came up with this tuning one day because I usually play in D, A, D, F sharp, A, E, but I felt like I was playing stuff that sounded too cheery, and I felt like stuff in that tuning was kind of sounding a bit samey. So sometimes if I'm feeling like that about myself, I change up the tuning a bit and I throw like a wrench in what I'm comfortable with so that I'm forced to use my ear to like find new shapes. One thing about working in alternate tunings is like if you're used to shapes like in standard, that goes out the window. Like there's like shapes for each tuning, but I switch back and forth between so many tunings that I don't really have the mental capacity to memorize all the shapes and all the different tunings. So I end up relying a lot on my ear and what I can find just by messing around. So I decided to drop the D to a C sharp just to make it kind of like a little moodier, you know? And I find sometimes when I do that, it really inspires me. So I came up with a riff, I guess in contrast with all the other stuff I write, a little bit like moodier, a little darker sounding. Actually, I feel like there's a little bit of like R&B in it. Just I think from like the legato sections and like the double stops and stuff. So I ended up just messing around and I wrote this riff. A lot of the stuff I write, I depend on the lower notes as kind of like my bass notes. So I outline certain sections and I color them by choosing different notes to like, I don't know, make something sound a little more tense. I guess an example of that would be like I threw in that chromatic step down just to kind of make it sound a little more suspenseful. So yeah, I guess this riff is largely starting on lower note and like playing kind of like a bass line, and then like the top strings are kind of like my main melody. I'll play the riff again so you can kind of think about that and keep that in mind. Of course, it's not like all of this came out like in one sitting. I definitely spent a lot of time thinking about like where I wanted the melody to go. But usually that's my process is I start out with like maybe a feeling or some inspiration, and then I kind of stumble my way through writing something, and then if I like it, I keep it, and then I build the part slowly. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. My name's Yvette. If you are interested in this fingerstyle tapping kind of stuff I do have a jam play guitar course online. I teach a lot of the finger picking stuff that I showed you and more in-depth tapping exercises, as well as how I approach songwriting and writing stuff that's polyphonic. And I'm currently on tour. If you are interested in seeing this stuff live, or if you want to see my band, you can just Google Covet. I'm on tour right now with the bands Polyphia and Hail the Sun, so if you put that in Google also, you can find some tour dates.